الآن المتحدث الدكتور سيرجو سيبرا، هي استاذ الاداره في جامعه اكسفورد المملكه المتحده. Please, floor is yours.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sérgio Seabra. I'm a practitioner. I work for the Brazil's Federal Auditing Organization, and it's my pleasure to have this opportunity to share my experience, the experience that the auditing organization in Brazil, and we have, I'm sure that we have similar challenges, and it'll be important to share this experience. First of all, I like to thank Dr. Saleh for this opportunity, for inviting me to this important seminar. And I would like to thank the citizens of Saudi Arabia for the hospitality that so far has been very good, been excellent, actually. Thank you so much. Well, so the purpose of this presentation is to show how we organized and how we developed our auditing activities to help the government to improve that government expenditure. Okay? Well, we all learned from the previous panel that auditing organizations have a potential role to improve government legitimacy, to increase accountability of public organizations and managers, to increase the possibility that public services will be delivered in an efficient and responsible manner. Okay? But this potential there is some requirements for this potential to be achieved. Basically, this potential is achieved when the organization are, this is from the Brazil experience that I'm going to, if I have time, I'm going to show you how we meet this challenge. So, so this potential is fulfilled when the organization are able to sense the programs and the processes that deserve to be audited. So we hear before, I think from Professor Kelman, that we need to have focus in managing performance. So we also need to have focus when we are carrying out the auditing function. Focus on the process and the program. We cannot audit everything, so we need to define which program or which process needs to be audited. And also, it's to fulfill this potential, it's important that the auditing organization have independence and also knowledge and capability to define significant, interesting, and logically structured audit questions. Okay? And obviously, the audit methods. And for that, it's necessary to have access to information. Auditor must have access to all information. And most importantly, the audit organization must be able to gain attention from the key stakeholders and instigate managers to act upon the audit results. So there is no value for an audit report if the managers don't do anything or don't act to, based on the results of the audit to improve the performance of the program. So I'll show you how Brazil's federal audit organization inside the executive government is meeting these challenges. So that's a picture of Brazil. So Brazil is a huge country, almost half of the South American continent. And in 1988, when we established the new constitution, the politicians were very, very clever to define the aim of the internal control system of the executive branch. And within this aim, one of them was to evaluating the execution of the governmental programs in the federal budget. So this shows how the control system in Brazil is structured. So we have the internal control system of the executive government, which is my organization. This is the CGU, the Office of the Comptroller General, and we have the external control, which is carried out by the Congress with the help of the Court of Accounts. And the self-control is the first line of defense. It's the control that the managers has to have in place to implement the programs. So, and by the end of 90s, basically what we did was just the annual accounts audits, where auditing reports mainly consisted in auditing opinions about compliance with norms and regulations, like personnel, procurement, and so on. Audit conclusions basically rely on managers' reports and documents, following auditing standards. But we hear before, from the panel before this one, that sometimes the data is not reliable. Okay? Sometimes the data and the documents are not reliable. When you do auditing, just looking at the papers, just looking at the documents the managers provide, sometimes everything looks beautiful, everything looks perfect, okay? But when you go to check how the program was actually implemented, if the service was actually delivered, so you can start to find some problems. So at that time, we have limited scrutiny of the actual execution of the federal funded programs. And also, another challenge was that a low impact from the auditing reports. Auditing reports did not get much attention from stakeholders. So how did you, what you did to meet this challenge? The first transition was basically two transitions. One was changing the focus of auditing to more important, significant, and interesting issues. Okay? So we had to build the capacity and capability to carry out audit focused on the verification of the actual implementation of public programs. Okay? Not only looking at documents, looking at books, looking at financial statement, but you had to go in loco, okay, to see how the program was really implemented. And also, we have to adopt some measure to increase the potential of the audit reports to make impact. That was the key challenges. Okay, the first one, building capacity and capability to carry out audit focused on the verification of the actual implementation of public programs. So basically, we define the output of the auditing activities as an answer to well-thought questions related to the implementation of significant programs. It meant that we have to identify programs in the process that deserve to be audited, conduct analysis to understand the selected programs in depth. So we need to understand the program very well. Okay? Thirdly, define interesting based on the knowledge that we got from this analysis of the program. We could define interesting, relevant, and logically structured questions that will be answered by the auditing, and also develop the auditing methods. And fourthly, we have to go in loco to check, to verify actual implementation of the programs. So basically, we have the headquarters in Brasilia that plan the audit questions, sending special requests to the office, the regional office. The regional office go in loco to check how the program is implemented and send the report back to Brasilia. In Brasilia, which is the capital, we receive the inspection reports and consolidate the final reports about the implementation of the program as a whole. So that's some pictures that show some of the findings.
Would you please conclude in 1 minute?
Okay.
Thank you.
Some of the findings. So that's a program called School Transport for Children. Okay? So in the right-hand side, you have what was expected to find in loco. And in the left-hand side, what we really found it. Okay? You can see the difference. You can see how it's important to go in loco to check if the program is well implemented. And in the bottom right-hand side, there is a picture of the front cover of the audit report. That's other of the finds. And the first one have you're supposed to be a preschool. The other one was supposed to be a health center, the primary care. Okay? And in the bottom, that's very interesting. Have you heard about the Zika virus? Okay, so there was a problem with Zika virus in Brazil, and the federal government spent some money sent to municipalities so that they can have the equipment to fight the mosquito responsible for the Zika virus. So we went there to see how well this program was implemented. How well this program was implemented. So that's what we found in one of the cities. So that's the way we did to create more interesting and more significant audit reports. The second transition was to increase the impact of auditing reports. Okay? Obviously, having interesting questions, interesting and significant focus of the auditing, it's already a requirement to make your audit report to make impact. But the second one was the publication of all audit reports at the internet. So that increased the accountability and the interest of the audit managers on the audit reports. We also introduced in the auditing process what we call joint search for solution meetings between auditors and public managers as a stage in the auditing process. So public managers become convinced, that's important, that lines of action need to be taken to improve the program. And also,
I would appreciate if you can conclude because the time is over.
Okay.
Thank
so
you.
You have they send the results to sanctioning bodies when they find corruption, and that's a very important point that we discussed here in the previous panel. That there's no conflict between auditing and investigation of corruption. So when we find corruption, not only problem of management, we send to the results of sanctioning body, and most important, sometimes we work together with federal police and the public prosecutors as a team to advance the investigation of the corruption. So just a few seconds, other enabling context factors that help us to fulfill this meeting, to meet this challenge, was a strong career of public auditors with stability and reasonably well paid, independence to plan the auditing activities, questions, process, and the program, and also existence and working together in cooperation with existing sanctioning organization. And thank you very much.
Thanks.